Hey fam, and welcome back to Resonate. Some of you have been asking God for a sign, but the truth is you don't need another sign, you need discernment. Some of you are spiritually frustrated because you're still trying to figure out what's from God and what's not. You're going in circles, feeling stuck, confused, even drained, but it's not that God isn't speaking. It's that you're not discerning. So today we're going to talk about how to develop real spiritual discernment. Because if the enemy can't destroy you, he'll distract you. Discernment is the ability to recognize truth, even when it's dressed up like a lie. It's being able to feel that check in your spirit before your heart gets too invested. It's deeper than wisdom. Wisdom helps you make good decisions, but discernment helps you avoid deception. And let's be honest, not everything that looks right is right, right? That opportunity may look good, but is it from God? That relationship might feel peaceful, but is it truly His peace? Or is it just a break from chaos? I have a quick story I want to share real quick. So I'm going to try not to take up too much of y'all's time. One of my best friends, someone I had been known for 13 years, was there for me, or at least I thought she was. She would check on me, pray with me, and be supportive, a solid friend. So it seemed. At that time in my life, I was going through a very, very hard time. But anyway, until one day we were on the phone and out of the blue, out of nowhere, she said something like really sarcastic. And it kind of hurt me. It stunned me because it came from her. It was like cold and cutting. It hit different. It hit different when it comes from your best friend. But anyway, I don't know what it was, but in that moment, my spirit was just like, hold up, wait a minute. It was like God pulled the blinders off of me. I realized that wasn't the first time she talked to me like that, and I had been thinking back to other conversations we had, way back. And it had always been there. Those jabs, those digs that she would take, it was just disguised, almost like competition. The little jokes that made me question myself sometimes. And I couldn't see it back then. I just took it. I ignored it. That's when I prayed and I asked God, was I missing this whole time? And I never spoke to her again, not out of hate, not out of bitterness, but because I realized that discernment doesn't just show you who people are. It shows you what you've been ignoring too. So you see, the problem isn't always that God isn't speaking. It's that we're not quiet enough to hear Him, or we don't want to. So let's be real. Sometimes we don't want discernment. We just want permission to keep something or someone God is trying to remove. And we confuse comfort with confirmation. Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's God. Just because it doesn't hurt doesn't mean it's healthy. So I have 4 real ways that will help you sharpen your spirit. 1, stay in the Word. God's voice sounds like His Word. If you're not feeding on Scripture, you're vulnerable to whatever feels right. The enemy's not going to show up with horns. He's coming with what looks good, but lacks God. He's going to show up what he thinks that looks good to you. Because I'm going to tell you, He knows you just like God knows you. He knows what you like. He knows what you like to look at. So He's going to show up as that. So number 2, pray for clarity and not control. So stop trying to control the outcome and start asking God for clarity. Even if He tells you something you don't want to hear, obey it, okay? Discernment grows when obedience is not negotiable. 3, pay attention to patterns. The first time might be a coincidence. The second time is a warning. But by the third time, it's a pattern. God will often use repetition to open your eyes. If you keep ending up in the same toxic friendships or environments or cycles, it's not just them. It's something you haven't discerned yet. 4, get quiet. Some of us are just too noisy to hear God. You got social media, podcasts, friends, opinions. But when's the last time you sat in silence and asked God to speak to you? Discernment doesn't scream, it whispers. And God doesn't compete with chaos. Hebrews 5:14 says, "But solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil." You don't get discernment by just attending church. You get it by training, by listening, by surrendering, by connecting to the true source. David didn't just pray, he inquired of the Lord at every step. That's what made him a man after God's heart. Not just his praise, but his dependence. So, yes, you have wisdom, but if you don't develop discernment, you'll end up calling familiarity faith and comfort confirmation. You'll stay stuck in friendships that drain you. Stay attached to things God already released you from, and keep asking for signs instead of sharpening your spirit. So yes, God is still speaking, but discernment helps you identify his voice in the middle of the noise. If this has hit home for you, drop discernment in the comments. Has God ever revealed something to you about someone you didn't want to see? So let me know in the comments on that one too. All right. Thank you, fam, and I'll see you in the next one.